You don't believe the Bible. The last book of the
About to
Bible
do a
ends with the
reaction
earth
on
on
this
fire.
shit.
And but what is your pastor saying in the
Up. I don't give a damn, baby. One thing about me, I'm gonna use Klarna. Split that shit up. I don't give a damn if it costs 25 cents. Charge me 5 cents every.
Already seeing red flags.
That's what God says. God's ultimate
I'm
plan for
watching
the United States of America
Hebrew
is
Israelites
to
speaking.
burn
So you hear them in the
it.
background, nigga.
And that's to show you
All
that's why
praises
we
to the
have no
Most High,
respect for
nigga. You know
people
what I
in these
mean?
religious
We a rebellious race,
denominations.
nigga.
Because y'all
Let's
want
just
that
leave it there.
fear-based
Leave it right there.
prosperity.
2 weeks. Bye.
I wonder if she has an emergency savings account. Probably not.
This nigga be clowning.
That's making your life.
Baby, one thing about me, I'm gonna use Klarna. Split that shit up. I don't give a damn if it costs 25 cents. Charge me 5 cents every 2 weeks. Bye.
I wonder if she has an emergency savings account. Probably not. If you guys haven't been living underneath a rock, I don't know if you guys saw the news, but DoorDash is now allowing you to have fast food layaway. Yeah, that's right. You can use the Buy Now, Pay Later app, Klarna, on your DoorDash purchases. You know, when I saw this, I looked at it and I said, this can't be. Are you telling me that they're allowing you to break up large fries into 4 easy payments? And it can't be that people would be this foolish to go ahead and use an app like that.
Stop it. Get some help.
But you know me, I have receipts. But we're gonna jump right into it. My name.
He stay doing that shit, nah. His nigga be laughing at y'all. Well, go back. He got DoorDash.
To go ahead and app Klarna on your DoorDash purchases. You know, when I saw this, I looked at it, I said, and it can't be that people would be this foolish to go ahead and use an app like that.
Stop it. Get some help.
But you know me, I have receipts. But we're gonna jump right into it. My name is Orlando. Welcome to the channel, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. And also to have a newsletter. Yes, a newsletter. It is completely free. How can you beat that? You can't. And if you need any type of financing that deals with commercial properties or investment properties, I am your guy. I've been a lender for almost 20 years, and I can assist you with that. That information is in the pinned comment and the description, guys. Let's not waste any time, and let's jump straight into this so you guys can see this ridiculousness.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, DoorDash has a new payment option for your takeout. The food delivery service is teaming up with the Buy Now, Pay Later company Klarna. The new partnership will give customers the option to buy in full or create a payment plan. Diane, it's another option that you can click to pay for your meals. So you can either pay in full.
Pause, nigga. If you gotta fucking lay away the fast food, nigga, you need canned food. Don't you dare do it. You need to move out of that town or some shit, bro.
Who wants that? But now we've read in the Bible.
Hurt my fucking hand, dog. Fucking with my snake. My fucking snake broke loose, bro. I know. This junk climbed into the couch, bro. Look at this monkey ass. You over there asleep now, bitch ass nigga.
When you check out, you can split the payments into 4 installments, which is interest-free, or you can pay later at a more convenient time, for example, when you get your paycheck. It is worth noting that Klarna, partnering with DoorDash takes up 67% of the market share when it comes to food delivery, and Klarna is about to go public on the New York Stock Exchange, so this partnership gives Klarna an opportunity to up their stock price. Diane, here's the thing. You're taking out a loan to order food, to deliver food. So it's easy to make impulse purchases when you don't have to pay for it right away. But remember, Klarna will make money off you when you don't pay your balance on time.
See, here's the funny thing. For whatever reason, people believe that,
Wow, I'm taking advantage of Klarna. I'm going to be able to win this game between Klarna.
Klarna knows what it's doing. Klarna knows that if you're splitting an $11 Chipotle burrito, that you're going to probably add more into the cart. Not only spending more because you're spending so low, let's just say it's $5 each. Actually, it's less than that. $3. $3 and some change. Now you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to buy this side. You know what? I'm going to do double steak. You know what? I'm going to do XYZ. Let me tell you what. Klarna isn't in the business of doing this and making no money. So the 4 split payments, if they're going into an IPO, what does that tell you? Most people fail that test. Most people fail the 4 payments of no interest. Because let me tell you what. If you miss one of those payments, the interest shoots up to 19%.
Robinhood Legend is a free, intuitive professional trading platform that can help you take your investments to the next level.
All the way up to 33, 40%. Just in late payment fees. Carta is, in the next couple of weeks, doing an IPO, getting onto the stock exchange, which tells you, when you look at their balance sheet, they're making money. On the 4-payment, no interest debt trap. Because that's what it is, a debt trap. Use your common sense.
On their website, they have an example. So let's say you buy something for $500. Obviously, you're not going to pay that for food delivery, but just in general. You could do the 4 interest-free payments, paid every 2 weeks. You're not going to pay anything extra. But if you want to break it up into 6 monthly payments, you're going to be charged 19.99% APR, so interest, meaning you're going to pay an extra $29.56 to not pay it off immediately. It is so critical you look at the fine print. And Klarna also said they might charge someone up to 33.99% APR.
You know the funny thing about this? The funny thing about this is that I forewarned everybody about this. I let people know that these buy now, pay later places and credit card companies, that it was going to get easier and easier for credit. And I said that to you guys. I said, just watch out for this. Why is this? Because a lot of companies say, this is the time that we need to take advantage of individuals. They were living a lifestyle that they couldn't afford. And we all understand that it's a lot harder to come back down off of that lifestyle. So when they don't have the income, what is the one thing they're going to use to spend to keep that lifestyle? Credit cards.
I'll do anything. I'll do whatever it takes to.
That was for the niggas in the back. Credit. Y'all gonna run that credit up, nigga? Gonna run the credit up? Run up the debt.
And if you don't believe buying fast food every single day, buying a fast food for lunch every single day is not part of a lifestyle, you're crazy. You're crazy. Because a lot of people believe taking your lunch is too good for them. Taking a lunch to save money, thousands of dollars, $10,000 worth of credit card debt in Popeye's chicken. They prefer to do that than to take their lunch. It's because their lifestyle is too good for that. Are you kidding me? Taking a lunch to work to save money? That ain't for me.
Awkward. So awkward.
But I know what you're saying. You're saying, Orlando, there's no way. There's no way there's people who actually love this Carta, who love paying 4 easy payments, who love splitting a large Coke into 4 easy non-interest payments that they're going to pay interest on. We all know this. We all know this. Let's be clear, because a lot of these guys will tell you, just because you split something into 4 easy payments does not mean that you have any financial issues at all. But I can tell you, people who have their finances in check aren't splitting a large Coke, a Chipotle burrito into 4 non-interest. They just pay for it right then and there. Fact. You're splitting up a $10 item, maybe a $5 item, into 4 easy non-interest payments that turn into interest. And these people will argue up and down,
I'm financially secure. I'm financially stable.
no, you're not.
This is a hill I will die on, and I know my people are out there. I don't care if something is $1 or $100. If Klarna and Afterpay are options at checkout, I'm going to use them. I will 25 cent myself to death. I really don't care.
Look at that. See, that's the one side of it, where someone thinks, oh, it's just harmless fun, no biggie, I'll 25 cent myself to death. But here's the reality. That's exactly what happens. I'm glad you said that, because that's what happens with the snowball debt. That's what happens when it's, 25 cents, $1, $5. Again, if you have to break up your things into 4 payments, you probably shouldn't buy it. If you can't buy $1 item without splitting up into 4s, you probably shouldn't buy it. Here's the other side of the coin. When you thought that, oh, it was no problem, I was splitting up into 4s just because I could make the whole payments, but I just was being cheap. I was just splitting up into 4s so I would have extra money to do what I wanted to do, which is another key factor of you don't have the money.
Okay, let me tell you today that I really suggest everyone should stay away from Affirm and Klarna and Afterpay. I have so many, payments coming out constantly that I'm just going to pay these off and shut it all down because it'll make you broke, okay? I owe a lot. It's ridiculous. I just take it away from me. So I'm going to tell you what I owe. So for Firm, I actually owe $3,000.
This is Whatnot. So I'm looking for a new gaming keyboard. I want something that's quiet and smooth.
$1,623.88.
Damn.
With Klarna, I owe $1,133.55.
What the fuck is he
With
about?
Afterpay, I had to shut it down so I could make monthly payments, so I only owe $151. And with Capital One, I have a credit card, Capital One, I owe $314.56. I have a Barclay card, I owe $3,780.45. I have an American Express card, I owe $1,130.06. So that's a grand total of $10,133.50. So yeah, I owe a lot. So I'm going to stop. After I pay all this off, I'm not going to be charging anything. Okay?
See, this is interesting because this is a person who thought what the other girls thought in the video said earlier, where they thought to themselves,
I could easily make these payments. There's no way that this all is going to catch up with me. No way. No way.
and then what happened? She's $10,000 in debt. See, what a lot of you guys don't understand is that you guys will go onto DoorDash, and not only are you paying for higher priced items, because let's be real, DoorDash upcharges on the food. So if the burger normally costs $10, on DoorDash it's going to be $15. Did you hear what I said? So you're paying more for said item, fast food, chicken sandwich, a Big Mac, a Whopper. Instead of spending a value meal of going there and spending $12, $13, you're now going to spend on DoorDash $22. And then let's not even talk about all of the taxes, local taxes, the app fee, the delivery fee, all that other stuff. At the end of the day, you come out at $35 for an item that was $10 to $11.
You've been bamboozled.
And then you're going to divide that up. You're going to divide that up into 4 payments?
Oh, man.
Tell me this is not real. Yes, we all see the pie graph on the end of your credit card statement or your Klarna statement. And the pie is all red and it says restaurants. You have spent $15,000 on fast food. It's crazy, right? It's diabolical.
On that
I make 4 payments. It makes me pay what I'm paying for. If it's $100, I pay 4 payments of $25. This is why you should never use Klarna or Affirm unless you have the money. What you're thinking is, okay, it's only $100 and I'm only paying $25 for 4 payments, right? Except what that tells me is not only do you not have the money for that $100, you have a bad spending habit. So this isn't a one-time thing. If it's a one-time thing, that's different. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, once they start saying, I can finance everything, it becomes a habit of, I'm Klarnaing this, I'm affirming that. So watch this. So imagine I have these monthly subscriptions, right? So that's already $45 plus $14, $59. Then I did a Klarna Pay in 4 of $20. I did another one as well because I went to Walmart, and this one was Target. And then I did another Klarna Pay in 4, and lastly I did an Affirm $50 for 3 months. Instead of paying just $20 for the 4 months, even though yes, Klarna might not charge you the interest, you're being robbed for 4 months or for 3 months or for that time frame instead of just paying it at once. Affirm does charge you interest. So instead of saving up for something you want, you're putting yourself in debt for something that's $100. You owe this to someone for that amount of weeks instead of being one and done. If it's something you want, save up for it. If it's something you need, that's different, and that's why you have an emergency fund. But like I said, a lot of the times for people, this is not a one and done deal. They don't just do the $20 a month. They do multiple purchases, and they end up owing to Klarna and to Affirm hundreds of dollars a month for one purchase, but it's multiple purchases added up. So yeah, you did a Pay in 4, but you did it 5 times. So instead of paying $20 a month, you're really paying $100, $200, even $300 a month instead of saving up for what you want. That's why this is dangerous. I've personally used Klarna and Affirm, and if you use it responsibly, It's not that big a deal. But a lot of people get into this habit of thinking, oh, it's only $20. And that's when things start to add up.
And I get it, what she's doing. She's doing a lot of disclaimers. Oh, you know, if you have the money, if you had the money, you wouldn't use this. Let's say that again. If you have the money, you wouldn't use this.
Yes. 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 Again. Yes. Say it again. Yes.
Imagine having to
Feels like a dream,
Oh,
feels like
nigga, I thought it was
now I believe.
save up for a large fry.
I'm not saying.
Save up for a large fry. Ma'am, sir,
But I'm saying don't
get off the app. If you have to save up for a large Coke,
get caught.
and the only way you can buy it is to divide it by 4, disintegrate the app. Matter of fact, throw the phone away.
Another phone.
I get it, but I'm not going to mince words here. Most people who use this don't have the money. Most people who use this don't have an emergency savings account. Most people who use this aren't going to listen to you anyway.
Don't be a fool.
In the nicest way possible. If Klarna, Affirm, Zip, Afterpay, Flex,
Who it is.
Uplift are not for
This is the
you,
majority of our
please
people.
scroll from my video.
You know, no, that's a
The
white
video
dude.
wasn't meant for you, obviously. I don't care how much
But it's
money I
all
have in my
women,
bank
though,
account.
mostly.
If I can split that baby in 4s, I'ma do it. Why do I have to put $500 down right now when I can split that baby up? I can divide it into 4s.
No,
I don't care if the Disney tickets are $140. If I can go on PayPal and put it in 4s, I'm gonna do that. You wanna know why? Because it's my money. And if you're so worried about how I spend my money, you can Zelle me the full amount and we don't even have to have this discussion. Get the fuck off my video if it's not for you. I'm helping other people that may not know about what's going on. It's their responsibility how they use their money. So carry on. Thank you.
See how these women be talking to us?
See,
Yeah.
this is who you guys are getting your financial advice from.
Yeah.
You guys are getting your financial advice from someone who is telling you, do the 4 split payment, no interest plan. That's the financial advice you guys are getting from someone.
Go back.
what's going
Get
on.
in there.
It's
Do
their
four
responsibility how they use their money.
That nigga
So
that
carry
do
on. Thank you.
See, this is who you guys are getting your financial advice from. You guys are getting your financial advice from someone who is telling you, do the 4 split payment, no interest plan. That's the financial advice you guys are getting from someone. And see, this is who you guys are getting your financial advice from. You guys are getting your financial advice from someone who is telling you, do the 4 split payment, no interest plan. That's the financial advice you guys are getting from someone. And people come to me and say, Orlando, why this, why that? Why do you say this? Why do you say that? Are these people, no one's actually doing this. No one's actually giving advice like, you just saw it here. You just saw this lady say, if I want to tell people about this hidden program,
We showed
Hidden?
you in the 14th century, Pope Alexander the
secret, let people know to use 4 and 4. I don't care. Sounds like she's living beyond her means. If you have to divide, let me just say this easy as I can. If you have to divide things into 4 payments, 4 payments, you can't afford it. It's just that easy.
Write it down and keep it for future reference.
At the end of the day, I think you guys need to remember that as the economy goes down, things will get easier and easier to put you in these debt traps, right? These situations where things are more
When you
convenient,
rack
but
up,
they
what did you
cost
say?
more. Let me
Go back. That's just a what?
At the end of the day, I think you guys need to remember that as the economy goes down, things will get easier and easier to put you in these debt traps.
Recession is here. DoorDash. What is they? Another. When you rack up $56,000, $53,000 in karma debt, DoorDash and crumble cookies every weekend, and the payment kicks in next month after graduation. Wow. Wow.
Right? These situations where things are more convenient, but they cost more. Let me say that again. Things are more convenient, but they cost more. You believe that they're giving you money to extend a bridge for you to continue your lifestyle, but it's really a bridge into a bucket that you won't be able to crawl out of. It's a hole that you will not be able to dig yourself out of. It's a bridge that will take you to a place that you may not be able to get yourself out of unless you file bankruptcy or there's some other financial destruction that happens in your life.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to avoid people in while this economy is going down, while you're trying to save for a new house, how will you be able to do any of this if you're spending $5,000 to $10,000 on Klarna fast food layaway? You won't. That's my point. You won't. Matter of fact, you'll probably spend all of the money that you have in your savings account on paying them back so that you don't have bad credit that comes along with it. But then you will be eating up your down payment that you're trying to use to buy the new house that you've been waiting on, or any other big purchase that you're saving up for your life. So anyway, guys, if you like information like this, please sign up for my Patreon. We talk about stuff like this in detail, and I also do exclusive videos over there. And also, too, thank you for dealing with the video. I'm losing my voice, and I'm just getting it back. I appreciate you sticking that out with me, but you won't get all of your information from this one video. I need you to watch this video right here. It will give you information on the housing market, financial news, and get you into your first rental property. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Well, there it is, boys.
Your future is at your fingertip. Take advantage of the flexibility and diversity of futures trading with InTrader, the #1 rated futures broker.
Orlando Miller.
Start trading futures today.
And I was a good video, bro. That was interesting.
I remember when he gave me the name and he was like, just look at the Bible and look at it. Just look it up, just look. At that time, we were all using
our government names. Then he was like, no.
You got the Bible.
This is what I'm going to call you.
This is what I'm
I
watching
looked it
on
up.
my screen.
Then everybody started calling me that. I didn't see this 17 years ago. I didn't see this in the cards in the future. And that's what it means to be born again. Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1. Read that. This is what it means to be born again. As a matter of fact, Marlon sound gay, kind of. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you West Indian people, Marlon! Well, Marlon! No, and the way the Americans say it, it just has a feminine touch to it. I'm sorry. I know they mad. I know they mad. My mother was like, I will never call you that. That's the name I give you. I'm like, I'm not answering to it. Go ahead, read it.
Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 1. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen.
Don't that sound good to hear that you're the chosen? You are the chosen. Read on.
Thus saith the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb.
God made you from the womb so you can be in the upper room. Read on.
Which will help thee.
Who's going to help us? God is going to help us. Read it again.
Thus saith the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb.
God created us the way we are from the womb. That's why we have to be born again. When we came out, we turned into something we shouldn't have been. The reason why you're here is because God spoke to you in the womb. Read on.
Which will help thee.
And he's going to help us when we become born again. Read on.
Fear not, O Jacob.
We don't have to be afraid no more. Don't be afraid of dying. Don't be afraid of your finances. Don't be afraid who don't like you. All that matters is God is on your side.
That's right.
I'm telling you right now, because nothing is going to be the way we want it. We want the perfect marriage. We want the perfect children. We want the perfect job. We want the perfect house. We want this. Not going to be that way. God don't want us to get comfortable here. So that's why he's saying, don't be afraid. Fear not. I'm going to help you. I formed you from the womb. And that's what we got to believe. Read on.
Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jerusalem.
You can join my free WhatsApp group and see everything for yourself. Every trade, the exact time.
Much T1. What the crap is that? Where's my T1 at? Okay, here. Jeez, bro. It's a crazy amount of T1. Loads and loads of T1 gamers. we go in here. I was just like this.
Yeah, a lot of people be going ahead these days.
Where's my con? I didn't build it. It sucked. Dang it. Got so much T1, dude.
Look at this. These niggas be so busy trying to play around in their base. They at least get me some pain.
I need to prevent whatever comm walk is going to happen here, dude. We can just get him in here and kill Geo. That's what we need.
This is war!
Alright. We just need to keep killing the gunships and stuff. I think we're in good shape. Yosha, go here.
Commander destroyed.
I need to res that probably. Oh. Being a con or two is good. Keep pushing, boys.
Low power.
I think we're doing okay. Just need to trade out all my
trading my fighters into his stuff. Maybe I can get some vision. Oh, he's got a bunch. Looks like. Yeah. There you go. It's less than ideal. How? Are we? What is that? Guys, they're maces. It's not a real unit.
Those niggas using containment.
You've received new units.
I don't get it. Why do we have 3 air? This is some...
We are in our pride, but Christ went straight to the point. He didn't care that you was acknowledging him, that he was God sent. He said, if you don't change...
When the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, for that the Lord heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord.
If you don't change, you're going to die.
Verse 9. And Moses spake unto Aaron, saying, say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near ye before the Lord, for he has heard your murmurings. Verse 10.
I'm making more than my teacher simply just selling snacks at school. So you guys can see we're already selling snacks. So my break just started and I got to my spot. This dude sent me some cash app. This dude gave me some cash. Another person sent me cash app. This dude came up to me. He's like, hey bro, let me get some snacks. So I was like, all right, bet. Slid him the Cheetos, slid him the Gatorade, slid him the candy, slid her some Cheetos and the lemon. He's like, bro, he pulled out 20s. I was trying to get them 20s, but he didn't want to give me the 20s. This dude paid me on his phone through his bank app. Gave him some Airheads, gave him some hot Cheetos, some Fritos. He put them back though and got the Cheetos. Went in class, sold the Gatorade, gave him the blue Gatorade, but I went back outside because it was my lunchtime. This dude got like 5 ding-dongs. I don't even know why he wanted them ding-dongs. Gave that dude some Capri Suns. He started tripping about the phone, but then that dude paid me on Cash App. Gave him some ding-dongs, a Twinkie. He said he wanted my Twinkie. I was like, whoa. But then I gave him some Airheads, even more Airheads, bro. They like sold out all my Airheads. He got a Sour Punch straw. He gave me the cash. Then this dude, I threw his candy on the floor because he didn't buy my candy. Then I gave him some Airheads. This other dude came up, gave me Airheads, and this is the bread we made. So watch the full video and see how much bread we made. It's going to be linked right there.
Live your life on this earth and then die and not make it into the kingdom. Damn. You, for that, there's a scripture that said you shouldn't even have been born. You shouldn't have been born. If your future should be in the kingdom. If you're not thinking about the kingdom, you shouldn't have been born. You're a waste of life. Read on.
I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades completely for free.
I love this action. On the left side, about 5 or 6 enemies. Greetings from Jazafyar to friends and family. I'm fine. I'm in a hat. We're fighting. In this episode, you will see in action the fighters of the Kraken Special Forces of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. More specifically, to friends and family, I'm fine. I'm in a hat. We're fighting. In this episode, you will see in action the fighters of the Kraken Special Forces of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. More specifically, their defense operations in the town of Chazov Yar, Donetsk region. You will see the repulsion of a massive assault of Russian occupants, armored vehicles, and close urban battles for every house with enemy infantry. The footage of the battlefield was taken from drones and GoPro cameras of the Ukrainian soldiers. In this footage, we can see how it looks like one of the massive attacks of the occupiers on Chazov Yar. There are 20 units of various armored vehicles in this column. So our reserves are gathered. Artillery is aimed at the road. SPG and mortars are ready. Attack drones are ready. Reconnaissance drones are flying. And Grad is in position. First shot, first hit. One of the enemy infantry fighting vehicles is destroyed. The Ukrainian artillery and pilots of the FPV drones are now in action. The Russians will have a very hot welcome. Part of the column attempts to break through into the city, and some vehicles even manage to drive to its outskirts. At least one of the MTLBs manages to land infantry. However, it is almost immediately hit. The armored vehicle tries to leave the battlefield, but the Ukrainian defenders have other plans for it. Control shot. The target is destroyed. Having been repulsed, the surviving remnants of the column retreat, but not many of them manage to escape from karma. The enemy infantry that managed to land hides in buildings and basements. In their turn, the operators of the FPV drones are looking for and sending explosive gifts to the uninvited guest. We have no data on how many enemy soldiers managed to get there in armored vehicles and how many survived. Most likely, the task of this column was to break through and land reinforcements for the Russian infantry group already existing in this part of the city, which would then continue to attack and expand the captured foothold. After repelling the armored vehicle's assault, groups of fighters from the Kraken Special Forces move into the city. Their task is to take up defensive positions, clear out the enemy infantry, and stop their advance. Unload and bring in everything quickly. I love this action. I can't move to you yet. Guys, drone. Output.
Is that a dead body?
Bulldog! Take the bulldog. Pass the bulldog over there. Output. Take up sectors. Have you seen them? Which window? There, on the left, at the top. Take that, bloody bastards.
Everybody's a weed dispenser. Everybody want to sell when it's to make money off to sell drugs to your people to destroy them. You all on board. Read again.
It's my lobby, bro. I'm free aim. The free aim guard, bro. Zavs Covid. Yeah, man, come in here, bro. Come in here, bro. I will attack you.
Charlie.
I will attack you.
Nigga, Charlie. Go check out this guy's page. Nigga, Charlie the Cook.
This guy looks kinda... Oh, he fucking left, bro. What the fuck is going on, bro?
It's not weak, but it's mighty.
Boom. Who that guy? Who that guy? This fucking lobby is boring, bro. The thing is, bro, I can't even, like, join trial. You could play from Brazil, so I forgot you think Brazil could play. Yes. Yes.
But we also are weak in him.
We also are weak in him.
That's crazy. Fucking Charlie. Amazing.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Fucking game is boring as hell, man.
Bitch ass police.
No good updates whatsoever.
This is my song right here. This is my mix. My music right here. This nigga.
Are you ready to get more for your money?
Robinhood Legend is a free, intuitive trading platform that can help you take your investing to the next level.
Trade on your terms with after-hours trading.
You really need that stuff. Read it again.
Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith.
Because a lot
Then we gonna call it here, boys. I don't want to go too far. Then we gonna get.
Es pecado. No, esa es hipocresía. Ok, lee.
Es pecado contra Jehová vuestro Dios y contra vosotros. Mas os ruego ahora que perdones mi pecado solamente esta vez.
No, lee.
Y oréis a Jehová vuestro Dios que quite de mí al menos esta plaga mortal.
Dice Jesús que ¿qué debemos hacer con nuestros enemigos? Debemos de rezar por nuestros enemigos de las otras naciones. ¿A dónde puede comprobar eso? Que Jesús habló de que no podemos rogar por nuestros enemigos de las otras naciones. Debemos rogar por los enemigos de nuestras naciones, ¿ok? Pero ¿a dónde dice Jesús de que no debemos rezar en contra de nuestros enemigos de las otras naciones?
You should feel guilt. It should bother you to your soul like, damn, I just looked at that. And I'm saying that I'm a man of God.
Porque la gente cree que Jesús vino aquí para regalar rosas y que todos amémonos unos al otro con todas las naciones. No.
You should want to destroy it.
¿A dónde dice?
all of a sudden they mic don't work no more. Eh? They don't know nothing that they talking about.
I don't think Yellow Breezy did it. I don't know how Yellow Breezy is. What the fuck did he do?
Know ye not your own selves how that Jesus Christ is in you?
Do you not know that if you're calling yourself a Christian, Jesus Christ should be in you? That you should be born.
Robinhood Gold offers one of the highest APYs available. Sign up now and get the first 30 days free.
I made over 6 figures trading without even looking at the charts, without spending hours glued to the screen, and without... After a lot of work, I've now been getting consistent payouts from funded accounts since August of 2024. So please let me help you avoid unnecessary suffering by watching this complete guide for everything that's required to make money from prop firms. I stole it from this website that has way more info as well as up-to-date discounts and rankings on the best firms, linked in the description and pinned comment. Before we explain every major rule, process, and everything else, you must understand that prop firms are not the same as trading a personal account. If you don't adapt, or if you start buying challenges without even practicing, you are going to lose money and be the liquidity for the traders who took the time to learn all of the things we'll cover, like how your trading strategy could be great for firms and bad for personal brokerage accounts. There's money to be made if you're smart about it, and we'll get into the specifics on that and a whole lot more. Every section is timestamped, so you can skip the basics if you just want to get to the making money part. At their core, prop firms are pretty simple. You buy an evaluation, trade it, and you become a funded trader if you hit the profit target before the max drawdown. From there, you become funded and you usually keep 90% of the profits. If you fail the funded account and lose all the money, you owe the firm nothing. So, it's an incredible opportunity for experienced and practiced traders, but it's a money pit for gamblers and beginners. I've used the 50K starter plan from My Funded Futures here to show the basics on the process of buying an evaluation and what happens after. So pause now if needed, otherwise we'll continue to the more complicated trailing drawdown systems and how these accounts operate. When you're making money and growing the account, the way that the max drawdown moves up is dependent on the trailing system being used. Let's say it's day 1 of your evaluation. At one point you're up $1,000, but overall you end the day up $200. The intraday max drawdown moved up $1,000 with the account's highest unrealized balance, but the end of day drawdown moved up by just $200. Now, your max drawdown is at $48,500 in the intraday account, but it's $47,700 in the end of day account. Doesn't take a rocket surgeon brain scientist to deduce that the intraday system is terrible for traders and borderline predatory, which is why I personally avoid firms that use it. If you need more info on these systems, I've got a page dedicated to this linked in the pinned comment. And remember, the website guide has far more info than what this video will cover, but we'll still go through all the major points. Regardless of the drawdown system, it stops trailing your balance once it reaches the account's starting balance, which in this case is $50,000. If you grow the account to $60K, then you'd have $10,000 in max drawdown. Moving on to the most common rules and using 40% as an example, a 40% consistency rule means that one single day's profit can't be over 40% of the total profit. Here's a simple demonstration to understand how it works. Day 1 plus $300, day 2 plus $500, day 3 plus $200. Total profit equals plus $1,000. Right now, you are not meeting the 40% consistency rule because your biggest single day of profit, $500, is 50% of the total profit. In order to follow the 40% consistency rule, the account balance would need to increase until $500 equals 40% of the total profit. Divide your biggest day of profit by 0.4 to determine the total profit needed. In this instance, that means the account balance needs to be $1,250 for you to request a payout. Of course, understanding this rule before you get funded means that you will be planning ahead. Don't have a massive day of earnings if that's not how you normally trade, or go with an account that has no consistency rule once funded. Check the pinned comment. The minimum trading day rule is as simple as it sounds. It's just the minimum amount of trading days required to either pass an evaluation or to take a payout from a funded account. Firms differ on how they use this rule, and some don't have it at all, like allowing you to pass in a single day. Pinned comment. As for news events, firms will always tell you whether trading during high-impact events is allowed or not. The scaling rule typically means that you start your funded account without access to the same amount of contracts you could trade with during the evaluation. But as you grow/scale your account, you gain access to higher contract size. Firms differ on this rule and how it's implemented, so it's worth checking out. If you go with a firm that I trade through, and I only pick the best ones, I've got full guides on my website that cover all of their specific policies. Prop firms will never offer the same freedom that a personal account does, but that's not really their appeal. In this example of the total cost being $100 total for an account, you've essentially got 25 attempts to pass the evaluation before you would have been better off depositing $2,500 into your own personal account. Then again, if you fail 25 times, then you definitely weren't ready, and at least you learned something in all of that time instead of losing it all with a live account on day one. Do your learning on a sim account, and remember that the max drawdown is the true account size. It's not a $50K account, it's a $2,500 account that ignores typical margin requirements. If you don't understand futures, there's a full guide in the top right from my main channel. I started with a sim account and a personal brokerage account with my own funds, and now I only trade with prop firms. That's just my personal preference though, and here's why. It's easier to trade meaningful size when the money being risked isn't yours. Money and risk. Since the only costs from you are paying to take the evaluation, you can't lose anything beyond that. Cheap access to more capital. Paying $92 total for a $2,500 trading account is an amazing opportunity. However, you have to actually get funded to benefit from this. Some people use firms and personal accounts at the same time, just use firms to fund a personal account, or they don't use firms at all. You're in control here. Now time for some big thinking from you, which will take time and effort far beyond the duration of this simple little video. Analyze and think about the rules and parameters of an account in relation to those consistency and minimum trading day rules. Really think about it. During this work, you might make some important observations like the following. Prop firms allow short-term edges to be exploited in a way that personal accounts wouldn't due to the structure of how firms operate, meaning paying $100 for a $2,500 account and how that cost versus funding capital gap creates an opportunity for funded payouts to offset evaluation costs. Prop firms are not the same as a personal account, so your plan should match the specifics of prop trading environments, and trading through firms should be treated like a business with evaluations as expenses and payouts as income. All that matters is making money, and all I'm saying is to do some math and modeling to figure out what's required to achieve that. If you go into this without an actual trading model and plan, you are going to lose money. Depending on what you do, prop firms will either be more difficult or easier than a personal trading account, and it's up to you to determine why that is and how to take advantage of it. But we'll cover a little bit of that in a minute.
Here's my secret to guarantee all your finds are in good shape. This is Whatnot. So I'm looking.
But we'll cover a little bit of that in a minute. Again, there is money to be made here. I've seen people with hundreds of thousands in profit from firms after costs, and I've also seen people who have spent thousands on evaluations without a single payout. All right, a couple more boring things and then some notes about your trading strategy. Again, skip ahead if this isn't needed. How does billing work? Let's take a look. Let's say you purchase an evaluation on the 10th of the month. If you pass before the 10th of the next month, you will pay nothing more and that past evaluation is over. If you're still trading the account by the 10th of the next month, you get billed again on that date. If you fail the account, you can pay a fee to reset it and try again, or you can wait until the 10th of the next month because it will be reset for free when you get billed again. Unless otherwise specified, buying a prop firm valuation is a monthly cost, and it stops once you get funded. There's almost always many trading platforms to choose from, including the most popular ones, but take a close look at each firm for this. The industry changes quickly, and some firms have even begun creating their own platforms. You'll pick the platform during the sign-up process for buying an account, and you'll get your login information shortly after that. Most firms let you choose to buy level 2 data if you need it. Otherwise, normal data is included for all.
Everyone that is born of the Spirit.
Read on.
Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be? Jesus answered and said unto him, art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things?
Your position.
Everyday holiday season at Costco, I see these full Serrano hams for $99. This year, I'm finally getting one to see if it's worth the money. Inside the box, you'll find a case with a cover, knife, stand, and this one happens to be an 18-pound full Serrano ham. I pulled the ham out of the box and I started assembling the stand. It's pretty easy. It's just a couple screws and it comes with all the tools that you need. Once you have the stand assembled, you could slide the leg in through the hoop and put it down on the spike. Once you have it unpackaged and onto the stand, they recommend letting it sit out for 6 hours. So that's what I did. And I'm not going to lie, it seemed pretty intimidating to dive into this. But I looked up some videos online, and what you want to do is you want to create a flat spot across the top that you can carve off of. So the first thing you do is you peel off the top layer of fat, but you're going to want to keep this for later. Once you peel off the top layer of fat, you can start making some thin slices like this. And I find that it helps to use longer strokes with the knife because you want to get the pieces absolutely paper thin. It can be kept on your counter for 3-4 months. And to store it once you're done slicing, you want to just put the fat on top. Everyday holiday season at Costco, I see these full Serrano hams for $99. This year, I'm finally getting one to see if it's worth the money. Inside the...
It's always an interrogation. You just got to do it in a way so that, because you know, the way the police do it, you're already on the defensive. But here, you got to do it differently. You got to make them just sit down. We're just going to talk about guys. Nothing scary here. You believe in God, I believe in God. Let's have a conversation. By the time they realize where you're going, they want out. They want out. Okay, and that's what I'm saying about you can waste your time with people if they're not born again. You got to get straight. The Bible is very specific. It's very clear. They say it's a discerner of souls.
In an unexpected turn of events on the front lines, Russian forces find themselves contending not just with Ukrainian special operations units, but also with North Korean soldiers, the latter suspected of sneakily pilfering items from Russian trenches during the night. Disgruntled Russian soldiers have started sounding the alarm about their North Korean counterparts, who reportedly raid their dugouts after dark to steal personal belongings. The revelation came to light in a video tour of the soldiers' positions, footage from which was shared by Ukrainian journalist Yuri Butusov on his Telegram channel. The video depicts a Russian serviceman showcasing his dugout, candidly explaining the measures they've resorted to in order to curb these nocturnal breaches. This is how we're living. We have tripwires here from the Koreans, a ring here. It's just a warning, because they sneak around here at night, those slit-eyed slur. Pilfering stuff, he detailed. The video further reveals storage areas for ammunition and provisions. Journalist Yuri Butusov took the opportunity to mock the resourcefulness, or the lack thereof, of the Russians. A Russian occupant from the Kursk region, while giving a tour of his dugout, complained that they're forced to set up tripwires at the entrance, not against Ukrainian units, but against North Korean comrades. According to him, Koreans scavenge through the dugouts at night, grabbing whatever they can. Butusov commented. There's been previous reporting indicating that Russians in the Kursk region are actively utilizing North Korean military personnel. Analysts have suggested that the battlefield gains the Russian forces have made in this area are owed in large part to the assistance of these North Korean troops. North Korea sent a new batch of soldiers to Russia in January and February. According to South Korean intelligence, their number is at least 3,000. Yonhap writes. Of the roughly 11,000 North Korean soldiers sent to Russia, 4,000 were wounded, and it appears that an additional 3,000 or more were sent in January and February, the report says. In addition, according to South Korean intelligence, the DPRK continues to supply Russia with missiles, ammunition, and artillery equipment, including a significant number of short-range ballistic missiles and about 220 units of 170mm self-propelled howitzers and 240mm rocket launchers. In addition, it is emphasized that the DPRK is seeking to improve relations with China, although Pyongyang's main priority remains further strengthening relations with Moscow. Russia is the focus of North Korea's diplomacy, with the regime seeking a full range of exchanges to maximize its troop deployments. South Korea said.
French President Emmanuel Macron said on Wednesday that a proposed European armed force for possible deployment in Ukraine in tandem with an eventual peace deal could respond to a Russian attack if Moscow launched one. According to Associated Press, Macron spoke after talks with Ukraine's president and ahead of a summit in Paris of some 30 nations on Thursday that will discuss the proposed force for Ukraine that Macron suggested could be deployed in important towns and elsewhere. If there were to be widespread aggression again on Ukrainian soil, these armies would in fact be attacked. And then there is the framework of engagement, Macron said. We have soldiers who, when they commit themselves and are deployed, are there to react and respond to the decisions of the head of the armed forces. And if they are in a conflict situation, to respond. Macron, together with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has been driving an effort to build a coalition of nations willing in one way or another to support the deployment of an armed force in Ukraine, with the aim of securing a lasting peace by dissuading Russia from attacking the country again. Macron didn't specify what sort of response he envisaged in the eventuality of a Russian attack. He said the proposed European forces wouldn't be stationed on the front lines in Ukraine, nor to be engaged on day one against the Russian forces. They would be forces that dissuade the Russians from attacking again. And by holding important towns, strategic bases, mark the clear support from several European governments and allies, he said. Macron is expecting 31 delegations around the table Thursday morning at the presidential Élysée Palace. That's more than the French leader gathered for a first meeting in Paris in February, evidence that the coalition to help Ukraine, possibly with boots on the ground, is gathering steam, according to the presidential office. Robinhood Legend is a free, intuitive professional trading platform that can help you take your investments to the next level.
Loin de prouver qu'elle veut vraiment la paix, la Russie continue de fait, jour après jour.
Read on.
That whosoever believeth in him?
Because who did not believe?
So the U.S. economic update, end of March, the Fed, basically they had the Fed Open Market Committee, and the Fed funds rate has remained unchanged at 4.25% to 4.5%. They're citing that uncertainty around the economic outlook has increased. So that's a bit of a concern. They want to have maximum employment and they want to have 2% inflation. The latest that we have for unemployment rate, we were at 4.1% last month, and effectively it's pretty much unchanged since May of last year. It's been 4 to 4.3%, somewhere in that range. The long-term unemployment rate is 1.5 million. That's starting to stabilize, but it's still pretty high, and it's been increasing before that point. The SAM rule was effectively triggered last year. Basically, we went from 3.4% to 4.3% at one point. Once you go about 0.5% over a 12-month period, that gets triggered. This is historically low, and same with 4.3%. It's still low in terms of unemployment. The inflation, the CPI, all of this data is always about a month behind because it takes time to collect. Core inflation is, minus food and energy, 3.1%, which is higher than that 2% inflation, and all inflation is 2.8%. So this has come down over the past couple of years, but it's stabilizing at a higher rate, and there's some concern that this could actually pick up. The big concern that we have, so our update from 26 March, the Atlanta Fed for GDP now, its estimate is basically for the first quarter of 2025, we are at negative 1.8%. So if you have 2 consecutive negative quarters of GDP, that's effectively a recession by definition. Some people have changed the definition a little bit, but if you're going historically, that was always how people defined a recession. If unemployment picks up and there's more pain economically, now the new definition of a recession would take place. So if you like this content, give me a thumbs up, like it, subscribe. I'd love to have you join. The latest data that we have on consumer spending is effectively from January numbers that were released at the end of February. It's down over $30 billion in spending. So consumer spending makes up about 70% of our economy. If people stop spending money, one person's spending as another person's income. Your income then becomes your spending, and it's a big cycle. So what are people spending money on? They're still paying for housing, food, gas, energy, utilities. Note that these are mostly what people need. The things that have gone down the most were basically people aren't buying vehicles, they're not making repairs to vehicles, they're not buying like recreational vehicles and things like that. So needs are being taken care of, but there's not a lot left over, it seems, for things that are not needs. So our March consumer confidence, we're down to 57.9. This is the lowest it's been in over 12 years. This is similar to what it was back in 2006 and when we were coming down from the Great Recession in 2012. So we have a year-over-year decline of a bit over 27%, a month-over-month decline of a little bit over 10%. So we haven't talked about this a lot lately, but there's the 10-year minus the 2-year Treasury yield. So this, anytime it dips below zero for that spread, effectively it's considered a yield inversion. Yield inversions usually are, 6 to 12 months before a recession, and then they uninvert or come right above the zero just prior to a recession by a few months. So we are now uninverted, or basically the way it should be. But that tends to be a sign that if you're coming from a deep inversion, it's just prior to a recession. So, for example, if you look back at the 1980s and right around 1990, before that recession, the dot-com bubble in 2001, the Great Recession in 2007, and even right before we hit the 2020 recession, we actually dipped into this inverted yield and then uninverted. You could argue that it was accelerated by the illness, but it was probably going to happen anyway, and now we're seeing it again. It's very common to come before a recession. So there's something called a poly market. This is where people bet on different financial things. So right now, the odds of recession, they've gone up by over 20% over the last month or so, and we're now at 40%. If you look at our manufacturing of new orders, anything below 50 means it's declining. So we're at 48.6. And one of the things I thought was interesting here is that there was a survey, the CFO survey came out a day ago, March 26th. They're citing uncertainty, tariffs. 30% of these CFOs are looking to diversify basically their supply chains, and some of them are looking to put things domestically in the U.S. The other one that's interesting to note is 20% moved up their purchases, which may have resulted in that bump in December through January. So there may be additional purchases that are pulled up further now before certain tariffs are put in place. So that may explain why our manufacturing new orders kind of had a bump in December and January, and now we're starting to decline. There was a survey from Deutsche Bank. They had 400 respondents. There's about a 43% chance of a economic downturn over the next 12 months. The other thing I want to look at are long delinquencies, so people that are not paying their bills for 30, 60, 90 days. So this is delinquency rates, which are for all consumer loans are increasing. But I want to point out that single family mortgages, those delinquencies of like 90 days, they're not increasing. I'm not seeing any change in that. That's actually not that uncommon. What is uncommon in 2007 and 2009, what I think led to those rapid rise in delinquencies for mortgages is something like they had adjustable rate mortgages, so your payments could increase as soon as the first part of the loan is done with, and you could jack up an interest rate, so it makes it hard to pay. The other thing was, back then we had what we called ninja loans. Ninja loans means you could have gotten a loan that you had no income, no job, and no assets. So how were you expected to pay that back? I don't know. You also just stated how much money you make. They didn't actually have to prove how much money you made. So there was a lot of issues back then, which led to basically the financial crisis and housing prices to collapse. That's typically not what happens in most recessions, just so that you're aware. Let's say people are not spending as much money on items for fun, things like that. They just are buying what they need. Let's say people are getting worried, they're not as confident, so they're going to try to save and not spend as much money. And let's say you're not manufacturing as many new orders. What's something that would happen in that instance? Well, let's look at FedEx, UPS, and DHL, basically the people that are going to be shipping the products. FedEx has just released information saying that their revenue is expected to be flat or slightly down. UPS just released their revenue and they revised it down further. So in 2024, they made $91.1 billion. In 2025, they're expecting to make $89 billion. So they're going to make $2.1 billion less. They're removing some of the volume from Amazon for shipping. So that's part of this. But generally, you don't want to see a company make less year over year. It's not necessarily a good sign. They're trying to frame it in a way that they're setting themselves up for long-term growth and some other things like that. But you don't want to see drops in revenue. DHL, basically, they just announced that they're laying off 8,000 people. In 2025, they're saying it's going to be volatile, and they are fit for growth, which corresponds to layoffs, and they're cost-cutting wherever they can possible because they're saying they can't control the economy, but what they can do is basically cut costs wherever they can, and that's what is within their realm of control. And they also said they want to grow the business, but it sounds like it's wishful thinking, not necessarily like they're actually going to do it. So they're looking to cut costs
they be
wherever
living
possible.
in their good little life, all safe and shit, and then they like to speak down on people, but they gonna feel the pain, bro. That's why all these poor white people are fucking.
Shalom, 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 Israel. First off, giving all honor and praises to the Most High and to His Son Yahushua. We are the battle axe of the Most High, coming to you with another Sabbath class breakdown. Shabbat shalom to brothers and sisters that are watching online. To battle axes all over. Shabbat shalom to brothers and sisters in class. The name of today's class is Betrothed to Christ, Jew and Gentile. Betrothed to Christ, Jew and...
Let's let that go. I didn't realize I'm talking so much here. I'm running out of time. Matthew chapter 18, verse 1.
You got a damn purple. He got a purple, bro.
At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family-owned oil company focused on unleashing American oil from North Dakota and
Children, ye shall not.
Back in December 2024, I published a video examining the Russian practice of creating rudimentary anti-drone rounds from a 5.45 cartridge case and a handful of ball bearings, BBs. The BBs are encapsulated in shrink wrap tubing and then loaded into the cartridge case like a conventional bullet. This was seen to be relatively effective, with evidence of multiple workshops independently producing the ammunition. The ad hoc production of the ammunition has been seen in locations ranging from kitchen tables to well-laid-out workshops. The rounds have also been tested by Ukrainian forces, and there's been some interest in replicating this DIY buckshot cartridge, but it's unclear if this has come to fruition. Shotguns appear to be much more prevalent with the Ukrainian forces. 3D printing has become a key element in so many aspects of the ongoing war, so it was almost inevitable that it would be leveraged in making the ad hoc anti-drone ammunition. It appears that several Russian workshops have developed what I'm going to call 3D printed sabots to replace the shrink wrap tubing. It appears that this move towards the 3D printed sabots is an effort to prevent the barrel from being fouled by the plastic tubing. This is an issue which has been highlighted in a number of Russian posts, and also in a borescope video published by Ukrainians who tested some of the homemade rounds. The shrink wrap likely disintegrates in the barrel, leaving behind polymer residues, whereas the 3D printed sabots seem to remain intact until they leave the barrel. The first sighting of the 3D printed sabots came on the 23rd of February, when a Russian Telegram channel shared a video showing the printing and assembly of the anti-drone ammunition, with 3D printers printing a bullet-shaped sabot. The design and production has been attributed to the assault detachment of the 33rd Regiment of the 20th Guards Motor Rifle Division. The design consists of a two-piece clamshell-like design, which encapsulates the BBs and can be loaded into the 545 cartridge case like a conventional projectile. The video shows 3 3D printers printing the sabots, which hold 4 rounds each. It then shows how the standard cartridge's projectile is pulled from the case, the sabots are loaded with BBs, and then the sabot is tapped down into the case. The video then shows an individual firing full auto at a target said to be 75 meters away, though the distance is difficult to verify. It then cuts to a shot of the rifle disassembled, and the individual filming states that after 4 magazines, there is no plastic residue in the gas system, barrel, or action. On the 26th of February, another Russian Telegram channel, Time of Terror, which describes itself as run by a Special Forces drone group, shared a photograph of a cartridge loaded with a sabot with 2 halves of an empty sabot next to it, stating that they'd been asked to develop the sabot by a subscriber and that tests were ongoing. The nose of the sabot has a noticeably less pronounced point compared to the first example. A day later, the same Telegram channel shared another photograph of the ammunition, this time with a 5BB sabot, next to a bottle of Crossman Copperhead BBs. Several days later, on the 2nd of March, a short video showing a version of the sabot without the pointed nose was shared. It appears that the point of the sabot's nose has been filed down. The machine-translated caption for the video reads, "Based on the feedback, certain modifications are made. After checking them and collecting feedback from other units, we will stop at the most working version." The video shows a few bursts being fired and several hits on a target downrange. The video...
So what I'm showing is we got to step our game up in how we're interacting with the people, how we're projecting our image as leaders, as fathers.
Way their sins. This is the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 32. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Adonai Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance. As the Adonai.
Okay? Give me... First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 2.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 3 and verse 2. I have fed you with milk and not with meat.
Because a baby needs small things when they come, as they start to grow and their digestive system starts to change. So we're giving you the basics of what it means to build a nation and for us to come together and help these children when they come through the door. That's why we be like, brother, you gotta put fringes.
That nigga Charlie just shouted out the family, bro. Shouts out that Charlie cook.
Like, oh hell no. He tried to kill me. That's milk. Peter, just put a skirt on and honor your body and get a
How much this coin is?
How come you keep posting stuff even when everyone's ignoring you? If my videos get
Somebody. Well, I'm on a.
See, they always kind of find a way to explain shit away.
That sounds crazy.
What we say is, hey, come on, what we getting, bro?
How you doing, mate? Can I get it? I'm gonna have cheese, tuna, and beans, mate. Do me a favour, is that skin off your spud?
Huh?
Skin off your spud.
Skin off your spud?
Yeah. As long as like mashed potato.
I can go to Unborn and get you some smash. No.
Send the skin off, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Right, how am I going to do this? Let's, wait, do you want me to peel it off?
I just like, cut the spud in half, like, just...
I'll have to give you 2 spuds, yeah? This. Do you want to keep the skin?
Nah, you're alright, mate.
Sorry about this, guys. He don't want his skin on his jacket potato. What a weirdo, eh?
Mix it all together and eat it quick.
Oh man, that is hot.
That burn your fingers, that's
Yeah.
what you get. Call it a weirdo. Just have normal butter on it, salt and pepper, please.
Yeah, of course can, mate. Do you want me to eat it for you as well?
If you want to feed it with it, it's really
Yeah. Alright, yeah, we'll do that.
Hey, trying. Easy and sweet, mate, there. Mix it all together, well better.
Bit of salt, pepper, yeah?
Yeah, have you got the brown sauce?
Any?
Brown sauce?
No. Brown sauce. Right, so what you want? Cheese, beans, tuna, brown sauce?
No, I want cheese on first,
yeah.
Then the tuna, then the beans, and then brown sauce if you've got it.
That was mad. And the beans. I don't have any brown sauce. I got tram sauce.
Nah, I'll go get some brown from all bargains.
Big Daddy, yeah?
Yeah, nah, it's not Big Daddy, HB all the way.
HB, yeah. Tuna, yeah? This is a very weird request, this. Anything else? Crispy onions?
No, that's it, thank you. Can I get can I buy a brew as well, please?
Yeah, of course, come. There you go, bro.
Very much, what do I owe you, mate?
For that, £20, that.
20 quid.
Labour, innit?
20 quid for a skinless split.
Say what up.
What do I owe you, mate?
No, you're alright, mate. First customer of the day gets a free one.
Cheers, guys.
I've got something for you, yeah? I've heard your daughter's a big fan of Pete Louise, yeah? So, this, I'm pretty sure this is a limited edition one.
Mate, free sport, free gifts. Mate, thank you very much.
No problem.
Cheers, guys.
See you in a bit, bro. Nice one.
Yeah.
Oh, what we say is...
You know what makes me feel pain? When us small content creators put so much work into...
Okay, I only have 6 seconds to talk about.
Okay, and like I
Nigga, that was a good one. We're gonna call it right here because I'm scared we don't gonna get fucking copyrighted. So let's call it right here. Unless we gonna kill it. You gotta watch it. I'm gonna keep it going. You want me to keep it going? I'm gonna call it.
We're not calling for no destruction of no character.
We gotta watch it, man. We got our first viewers out here, man. I'm gonna call it right here.
Problems, and I didn't jump.